Hello again, and thanks for joining me on this dark minimal journey we've embarked on. And now we get to work on one of my favorite parts of the track, the atmosphere. And this is really cool because you get to create a sound that normally on its own would drive someone mad, but done right, it can be the defining characteristic of the track. And this technique is easy to do, but complicated to get right. And finding the right sound can be challenging, but well worth the effort. So let's get right into it. In the beginning of the course, I put together some channels with tools I normally get inspired by, and Quadrant was one of the plugins I loaded up specifically for this purpose. So let's locate Quadrant, which is right here on this atmosphere channel. And we're just going to take this and drag it to the top, as this sound is literally going to be playing throughout the whole track. So I'll normally just put this up here at the top. That way I know it's up there. Now the next thing I want to do is navigate over to our Sonic Academy folder. And what I'm looking for is a vocal sample, as I find that most often vocal samples work really well for this technique. And Tech House generally comes with vocal samples, loops, one-shots, whatever. So let's start browsing through some of these loops here. Let's see if we can find some vocal loops. And of course, here they are. And I'm just going to start going through some of these and seeing if I hear something that might work specifically for what we're trying to do here. Okay, I'm not hearing anything here so far. Let's try Tech House 2. Okay, I hear something in there that I think will work. So I'm just going to drag this up to my audio channel here. And now I want to have a closer listen. I think something like this is going to work for what I'm looking for. It's got like an upbeat characteristic. It's the syllabus is going up, so to speak, instead of down. So we're getting kind of like a up motion rather than a down motion, which I think will be good for the track. So I'm just going to take this and cut it and put it here. And let's duplicate that. And we're going to duplicate that again. So let's start working with this and see if we can come up with something that works. And again, like I said, on its own would drive someone mad. Let's go ahead and consolidate that. Okay, cool. So let's work with this. First thing I'm going to do is open up Quadrant and start cycling through some presets and trying to find something that sounds cool. That's a bit full on, isn't it? Too metallic. Way too glitchy. Too much static. Let's try down here. It's a bit mental. Hello, calm down, Quadrant. Let's see here. Nope. Okay, maybe something like this. All right, let's work with that. And now I'm gonna drop an EQ. Start really sculpting it. And basically what I'm looking for is somewhere in the frequency range that has some harmonic content to it that I can really manipulate and play with. So let's see how that sounds with the track right now. Okay, cool. That's sounding pretty good. Next thing I want to do is add some compression. And I think what I want to do is grab this setting here, mildly aggressive. So what I want to do is kind of smash it a bit. Okay, sounding good. And next up, now that I've got this sounding somewhat near the way I want it, I want to give it some movement. I want to like create something that like isn't so static, and I'm going to achieve that by using it's called Time and Timbre. Yeah, here it is right here by Skinner Box, and this is these are some tools that you can get on the Ableton website. And what I'm looking for is it this one? I think it's this time. Yep, here we go. Okay, so what I want to do is I'm going to map this little LFO tool to this nodule here, basically, to the frequency. Now, if I play this, it's definitely got movement, but way too much movement. So let's tone that down a bit. First of all, we don't need a quarter for the rate. Let's go down to half time. Let's try over half. And that's still a bit too much. Let's turn the amount down. Okay, I'll just give it a little bit. Cool, let's try that. And this is something that's not going to be loud in the mix. So obviously, we don't want to mix it too loud, or else it's going to stand out like a sore thumb. We just want it to be in the background, kind of like giving the track some like a rhythm. Okay, so I think that's shaping up quite nicely. There we go. So we just have a little bit of movement here. I think that sounds good. Let's try it again with the track. Okay, great. I'm really happy with that. Now the last thing I want to do, now that this is basically functioning as a sound, is shape it even more by adding an LFO to it, or sidechain rather. So I'm going to get my LFO tool here and give it some sidechain movement. And that'll help it bounce with the track. So let's hear that just with the kick and the bass. Okay, good, nice and simple. And lastly, I'm going to load up another EQ and just, again, make sure that none of the lows are coming through. And that's it. Super simple. We're done. Join me in our next session where we'll be thickening up our track by adding some extra percussion and drums. Thanks for tuning in.